Yo, what's going on? It is 3 p.m. Friday. We made it to the end of the week, everybody. Great job. It is July 10th, 2020 here in New Vienna, Iowa. Hope you guys are doing well. I made it back just in the nick of time. I wasn't sure if I was going to have to do a live stream from Guttenberg, Iowa today, because today was the day we had to go back over to the other house and mow the lawn and kind of take care of weeding and stuff like that. So I went over with my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, and I got to mow, and my father-in-law did the trimming with the weed whacker. This is my hand motions for weed whacking. So he had the weed whacker thing, the trimmer, edger, whatever it's called. And my mother-in-law did a lot of just picking up, making sure the lawn looked nice, and did a lot of weeding. So she got elbows deep into it. So that's what we did. We got back just in time for me to kind of like get like a thumbnail set up, barely, and get this thing scheduled. But I'm here. Stinky. My face is still all cakey. I'm trying a new kind of sunscreen now. So if you look real closely, you could maybe see that my face is a little bit, I guess, whiter than normal. It's a zinc-based sunscreen, so it doesn't really ever absorb. So it's something I'm trying. And but I'm here. We got it done. And I'm also enjoying a beverage because that's what one does after one mows lawn. I've decided. I don't know if people do that or not normally. But that's what I'm going to do. So hopefully everyone's doing well. Let's see who's here. We've got CV76, Roll B. J. Mike Remy's here as well. Good to see you. Matthew Montijo. My mom's here. Not really Hank Aaron. Not really Hank Aaron got here real early today. Good to see you. That's dedication. Luis Becerra says, oh, yes, we could tell you were outside. Yeah, I'm still like a little bit sweaty and stuff. But I did have my, I got to have my stars and stripes whenever I mow the lawn. So I have my America hat on, and I did have the Mizuno Wave Riders because those are I just enjoy mowing lawn in those shoes. So they're good to run in and for mowing lawn. JC says, you do look a little pale. Yeah, that's the sunscreen that's coming in. It's funny. It's like in my facial hair. So like when I looked at the mirror real close, I was like, what is happening? I'm like, oh, that's a sunscreen. So yeah. Frank LaHoulier says, one of our neighbors likes to weed edge with a flamethrower. What? Is it a flamethrower from the Boring Company? Like one of those flamethrowers? That's crazy. Insane. We've got, who do we see? I just saw it. Gavin Braden says, happy Friday, everyone. Yes, indeed. Giorgio Mercedes says, hey, I'm 14 and I think that I'm going to choose a 150-mile month for the Grit Summer Project. But I want to ask you if you know minors can participate. If yes, I'll do it right away. Giorgio, I don't know if there's an age requirement for it. That I'm not aware of. So I'm not sure. I don't know the answer to that. Lewis M says, yo, yo. Dave Belcher says, hey, Mike, your Grit Challenge buddy here. I think, Dave, you're like 2 spots ahead of me. I didn't enter any of my data for the last couple of days. I wish there were a way that it just automatically could sync to like Strava or something else, but that's all right. But I'll have to go through and make sure I keep that up to date to see where you are and see where everyone else is. Nathan N says beer well deserved. It just feels good. And it's Friday, and it's a really nice day out today, so it's just beautiful. Chris Yao coming in from Miami says, Miami checking in. What's up, everyone? Hopefully you're doing okay down there. I know you guys are getting hit pretty hard with the recent spikes, so hopefully you're doing all right. Michael Sessler says, hey, all. Kevin Johnson says, hi, Mike. Kervin Batista says, greetings from Key Largo, Florida. Awesome. Cool. Every time I hear Key Largo, I think of that, was it Beach Boys song? Steve says, hey, Kofuzi, and he gave me a vampire emoji. That's fun. Mike Huggins says, hey, Kofuzi, joining from Danville, Virginia. That's cool. Awesome. All right. TJM says, in rocking a new pair of Clifton 6s and a new pair of shin splints, high mileage boys. Oh, man. The shin splints, shin splints is one of those injuries that has one of those names. It's kind of like if I had tennis elbow. You would just think that it just doesn't seem like a serious injury. But it does. It certainly hurts. But hopefully the Clifton 6s will take care of you. Christopher Colangelo's coming in from Connecticut. Good to see you. Runners Talk says, do you have holiday? It's not a holiday here for us in the U.S. What's today's date? The 7th? The 10th? No holiday today. No holiday today. Larry Lawrence is coming from Lakeland, Florida. Cool. Giant Page says, I had to pay someone to mow the lawn. Too hot in Texas. Yeah, I think that, like, if I actually owned a lawn, which I don't, I feel like around here, if I owned a lawn around here, it would really be looked down upon if one did not mow their own lawn. But I would be inclined to do that, especially if there were like a neighborhood kid or a neighborhood business, like one of my neighbors that like they had that, like a landscaping business. I would really prefer to do that. I could see why people like it. I just don't. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's been a nice like change of pace. I got pretty deep in thought today. It reminded me of like, when I first started running again and I got into some long runs and I was like, whoa, that was a journey. And you're just like, whoa, my mind really wandered. That kind of happened for me today. So I was all over the place. So that was nice. But people take lawn mowing very seriously around here. And I don't know if I'm capable of keeping up in that pack, so to speak. Turtle Bite says, what's your top non-Nike running shoe recommendation right now? Right now, it's the Endorphin Speed. That's one of my favorite shoes. It's super fun to run in. It is like a pro level shoe that normal people can run in. I'd say. I think they've changed some of the marketing language around the Endorphin Speed, because I was looking at it and making the video today. And right now there is a quote from Jared Ward that's on the Endorphin Speed site. And maybe it was there the whole time, but I don't remember seeing it before. But the quote from Jared Ward is like, something, 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 but make no mistake, this is definitely a marathon racing shoe. So I think that they're realizing that like this is a real hit with people who are just normal people, and they're going to love it for marathon racing or any kind of like long distance racing. And so I think they're leaning into it now, which I think is a great idea. Ryan Secord says, my real question for the day is, what is your live stream setup? Your phone, a DSLR? So right now the setup here is a mirrorless. So I've got my Sony a6300, which is the same camera that I use to do the talking parts of my videos. That is connected through a cam link to connect it to my laptop, and then I use OBS. OBS then feeds it to the YouTube live stream, so that's how that part goes. The audio is this Deity mic right here. That's going to a soundboard, which then goes to the laptop as well. So everything goes to the laptop as the hub, and that feeds it to the YouTube live stream, and that's how you guys are seeing it. So that's what it is. I think it's been working for me. It took a while to kind of figure it out. One of the things that I had to do, because the Sony a6300 tends to overheat, is I don't record. So I'm not recording this. It's just the camera's just on. And this camera is smart enough to realize that like if it's on and connected to something, to not auto shut off. Because like other times, if I leave the camera on and it's not connected to anything, like via like HDMI cable, it'll auto shut off after like a minute. But it doesn't auto shut off, and it doesn't overheat as long as I'm looking at it in 1080. So looking at the native source is set to 1080p at 120 frames per second. I think this uploads at 1080 at 30 frames a second, 60, I'm not sure. But yeah, so that's how I get around the overheating issue and the battery life issue, because otherwise neither of those would be able to last me through a live stream. So it took a little bit of kind of figuring it out and making a lot of mistakes. Steve Ehrenberg says, first run in the 1080 V10. Not sure I love them, but much more enjoyable than the Triumph 17. That's interesting. I'm sorry that you're not in love with them. That's okay if you're not. Maybe you'll come around to them. But I'm glad that you like them more than if the Triumph 17 wasn't working for you. I'm glad you like those. But yeah, a lot of people have been buying the 1080 V10 lately. I wonder, has it been on sale or something? It just seems like lately, like people have been sending me pictures of theirs, which is cool. I love seeing pictures of your guys' shoes. But I've been getting a lot of, that's like the main shoe that people have been taking pictures of and sending to me on Instagram. It's pretty fun. Runner's Talk said, I did start my running YouTube channel. Awesome. Very cool. Runner's Talk, can you either put a link to your channel? Well, I mean, I'll be able to find it through your comments, but put a link to the channel down below anyway, or message me on Instagram with and just so that way I can remind me to go take a look at it. Chris Yao says, running from the COVID. Chris is in Miami. Yeah, it's a man. You guys are getting hit pretty hard down there, but be safe, please. Kevin Johnson says, I finally got to try the new shoe from Atreyu this morning. It's such a great shoe. I'm glad you really like it. I think of all the versions, I have the black ones, which are very fun. But I think I like the white ones the best. Because it has that like gray shading that comes up like the side of the foot. And I think that looks really nice. It's kind of like, it's not really white. It's like gray. Like light gray. And I kind of really like that one too. Roll B says, can you consider the SE Speed as I like what you call that, SE Speed, as a daily trainer at slow tempos and a race shoe for 10Ks and also full marathons? Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty versatile. I'm not sure that I mean, you could definitely race a 10K in those. That'd be fine. There are also a lot of other good shoes in the 10K race category. That's the only thing that gives me a little bit of pause, but you can certainly do it. It is a tall shoe though, and it feels like a tall shoe, which is why I feel like there's a lot of like structure in the upper, is because like if it weren't, it'd start getting into like the Fuel Cell TC category where it's just like there's not enough structure in that one, and it's so tall that it just feels like if there's a lot of turns, you're going to tip over. So I think that you certainly can do it, but I think that if the course that your 10K is on had a lot of sharp turns or switchbacks, I might think of something else, but you know, I think it's a pretty versatile shoe. I think it could do a lot of those things. People were asking me, can you use it as just your daily trainer, like straight up daily training? You could, but again, there's lots of better options for that. And so it might be a good way to like have it in your rotation. So if you have only a 2 shoe rotation, you could have like a daily trainer, like a Triumph 17, 1080 V10, which are more max cushion, and then use this Endorphin Speed as like speed day, race day, tempos, intervals, and everything else. The only thing that I probably wouldn't think you would need it for is like on a track, but I feel that way about most like carbon plated marathon racing shoes. Jody Runs says, I had skin cancer cut out on Wednesday. Oh, I hope you're all right. And now I have 39 stitches in my leg. Now regretting not wearing sunscreen when younger. Whoa. Man. I wish you a quick recovery. I hope that's as bad as it gets for you, Jody. Yeah. You know, I don't wear sunscreen on my legs. Ever. And maybe I need to revisit that. But my legs are so hairy. It's only part of me that's very hairy. And so I kind of like justify it that way. Because I get color, but I can remember maybe 2 times in my entire life that I've ever gotten sunburn on my legs. It never happens. So maybe I'm all right. I don't know. I should probably run that by my wife. My wife is very knowledgeable about these kinds of things. Yeah. I've been kind of hiding that fact from her for a long time. So I'll have to think about that again. Let's see. Charles Ventura says, just bought the Triumph 17 in the Kofuzi colorway. I think it's funny that people call it that. Let's see, where'd I go? I'm far behind. Just bought the Triumph 17 in the Kofuzi colorway. They are on sale, plus had a discount code from Honey. Whoa, if the Triumph 17 are on sale, it's a very good time to buy it, especially if you get in that black and gray. That they call it blackout, which I think is a great name for it. It's a great buy. All right. I think a lot of people like getting stuff taken care of today. MC1796 says, went to an orthopedist today for snapping hip syndrome. I'm okay. Whoa, what is snapping hip syndrome? But the doc asked me my weekly mileage, and I told him 45, and he says, oh, not too much. Oh, okay. That's good. Turns out he's a 3-time Ironman. That's great. You know, I feel like there should be I don't know. I feel like I know like physicians don't really advertise themselves too much. It's always been kind of like looked down upon within the profession. But I feel like if you are a physician or an orthopod and you are an avid athlete like that, I feel like that should get out there. I mean, because like I have a great general physician. I don't have an orthopedist, but I feel like if my general practitioner were like a marathoner or like an ultra distance or an endurance athlete, I feel a lot better about going to the doctor more regularly, I think. That's cool. That's really cool. I'm envious. Patrick Fung says, is it Friday phone in today? Not today, but I am going to have, I've been talking to the people at YouTube/Google about it. And there is a new version of that same app that I think is going to be a lot more fun for us. So I got to get another person roped in to be a guinea pig. So I got to figure that out, and then we'll do something else that's going to be along those lines. So something new, something fun coming up. So some more testing coming soon. Martha's here. Good to see you, Martha. John Manella says, Saucony Speed good for a 205-pound runner? Yeah, I think it would be, but I would also consider the Endorphin Pro at 205, because I feel like for me the Endorphin Pro, I'm at 145, and I don't think that I'm either fast enough or big enough for it. Like if I were taller or heavier, then because I just feel like, I hit the carbon fiber plate and it just kind of giggles at me, and it's like, nope. Because I'm not feeling it. The only time I really enjoyed the carbon fiber plate was when I was running downhill. And so I was going faster from the downhill, and I think I was loading the carbon fiber plate finally properly. And then the shoe was like, whoa, it feels really good. So I would see if you could try. I don't know I haven't been in a running shoe store in forever. I don't even know what the status of running shoe stores is right now. But like, I would think about the Endorphin Pro as well. I don't know what like the cutoff points would be. That'd be like kind of interesting data to see. I'm sure Saucony has probably some kind of data along those lines, where it's like at what speed. And I'm thinking like probably, 620, 615 for me at my weight is about when I started really starting to think that this Endorphin Pro was really great. I wonder what weight, like I'm sure it's some sort of like spectrum of like weight and speed just to get the ultimate forces. But yeah, I think the speed would still be good, but I might look also at the Pro. All right. Ines Dunbar says, on my 22-minute 5K around town tonight, I noticed my average HR was 129 beats per minute. Seems lower than other folks. That does seem pretty low for a 22-minute 5K. Nice work. Chris Colangelo says, a non-elite lawnmower t-shirt? That'd be kind of funny. I kind of like that idea. I'll have to think about that. Steve says, a few years ago, my boss used a strimmer weed whacker on gravel at work and smashed all the windows. Whoa, that's crazy. Yeah, I feel like we had a discussion about this on the live stream a little while ago, where there's parts of the world that call it a strimmer. And most people call it a trimmer. I think I was the only one that called it a weed whacker. But yeah, that's crazy. That's what I'm always afraid of, like, because there's like little rocks and stuff that I take the mower over as I'm mowing the lawn. Because there's a part of the lawn that's rocked over. It's a very steep incline, and so the lawn was like rocked over, like rocks were placed down there. But anyway, there's also just rocks, and I'm always paranoid that like as I take the lawnmower over the rocks, which seem like dug into the ground and won't be a problem, so I'll do it. But I'm still afraid nonetheless that like a rock's gonna catch, get slung by the blade, and like hit me right in the shin. And then it's just gonna have I'm just gonna get mowed, like not mowed, but like the rock is gonna like take me out. So I'm always very concerned about that. Hopefully that doesn't ever happen. Darrow Singh says, Yo Kofuzi, have you got any tips for calf strains as I keep getting injured? Yeah, I don't know. I think for the calf strain, I would think about, how are you getting injured? Is it The way that I get calf kind of strain is usually a hydration issue for me. I'm guessing that's probably not it for you. The other times that I can remember having something like that, it was bothering me more towards lower calf / upper Achilles area, is when I was just overworking. So like I was able to handle the workouts, or I guess I thought I was. I was doing a lot of intensity, lots of workouts per week, short, very fast intervals, requiring a lot of power. But I think I kind of ramped up to it too quickly. I've done that before. So that could also be it too. So it may require you to kind of ease into the paces and intensity and the magnitude of those paces of repetitions that you're doing. So that would be the other thing that I would think about. The other thing to think about is, massage. What are you doing? What else are you doing in recovery? Let's see. Mark Smith says, currently up to about 60 miles in the 1080 V10, but not gone past 11 miles in them yet. That's cool. That's cool. I think I really like them on long runs. I think they're just really nice because especially like when your feet would start to really hurt, you're like, oh, my feet feel really good. My feet still feel really good. And that's always just a nice feeling. Thomas Korsness says, finally made it to a live stream. Glad to have you here. Awesome. All right, I think I'm really far behind on some comments, so I'm going to kind of skip to the bottom. Sorry about that, guys. Kevin Hagler says, I use the Saucony Kinvara 11 for distance runs. I don't love them. I have an Ultra that's only road August 1st and was thinking of getting new shoes. Do you think Hoka Clifton 6 are good for Ultras? I think for a road Ultra, I think it could definitely do very, very well. The Kinvara 11 for me this year, I just feel like it's very different than other Kinvaras have been. It's much more of like just a daily trainer. Previous Kinvaras, I felt like were more of your faster day shoe, kind of like where the Pegasus Turbo normally sits, is kind of where I've normally considered the Kinvara. So I don't think I've ever loved them for long distance runs. Yeah, but I think the Hoka Clifton would be a good choice for you as well for that Ultra. But I mean, we've been talking about the Triumph 17 and the 1080 V10. Those would also be good. They're a little bit heavy, but I mean, on an Ultra, depending on your pace, the weight isn't as big an issue. So that's something to consider as well. Let's see. David Belcher says, heel drops off of a step for calf strengthening. 3 times 10 each leg, down on 1 foot, up on 2. Oh, I like that. Some strengthening. Great idea. Derek Dixon says, can we get B-roll in the next video of all the shoes you brought to camp this summer, or at least let us know how much space it took up? Yeah, I'll do that. I'll figure out a way to do that. I don't know if I'll make a separate video about it, but I'll show it to you guys. But some of them I've already gotten rid of. So like I can show you all the shoes I have now, which I think I have about the same number of shoes that I had before. But I've gotten some new shoes. I've finished running in some other shoes. So, but I'll show it to you. Dan Actor says, in looking at your Strava heart rate data, it looks like even with longer runs, your heart rate stays super consistent. For me, my heart rate creeps up gradually over a 10 to 15 mile run. Is that normal? What should my goal be? It's definitely normal, Dan, that your heart rate will creep up gradually over a longer run. It's called cardiac drift is what they call it. So the way I think of it as like in a marathon, if I were to run a consistent heart rate the entire time, my pace would eventually slow down. But if I were to run a consistent pace the entire marathon, my heart rate would slowly start to rise at the end, especially as I was starting to get a little bit more tired. Mine, I don't feel like my heart rate stays super consistent. That's why like on in Strava, if you're looking at it from the web, my favorite one to look at is the one that looks at paces and elevation on the same graph. So it gives you like the elevation graph and the paces in block, like in like a bar chart. So that's the one that I would probably pay closer attention to in terms of seeing what the consistency is. Because that gives you an idea. Because my heart rate will fluctuate quite a bit, and I think that a lot of times those faster paces can also correlate to downhills. So I usually like to plan run. My favorite way to plan runs is to have as many of the uphills in the beginning and like flat and downhill towards the end, because mentally I prefer that, but also it helps with things like, cardiac drift and being able to just keep that kind of consistent pacing throughout the entire time. So in terms of what your goal should be, it depends on where you are in your kind of low heart rate training. But if you're just going for an easy run, I would say my goal is generally, unless there's hills, those are my kind of like, I allow myself some exceptions for hills, is to try to keep relatively consistent within like a zone. So for me, I try to keep between like 130 to 145 beats per minute for most of my runs. Although we've been talking about it here on the live stream where I think I need to move that a little bit lower because it's making me work a little bit harder than I intend. So like I keep like a 15 beat per minute zone that I like to stay within. And so that gives me like a little bit of wiggle room. Tom Baggerstock says, any chance you will try the Ultra Torn 4.5 plush? A great shoe, Mike. I won't say no to any ultras because so far I'm 2 for 2. I ran in the Ultra Superior 4.5 again today, and I just really enjoy that shoe. I really enjoyed the Ultra Escalante. So like it's really there's rolling hills here, and so maybe that's why I like them. But and I'm not noticing the zero drop so much. But I feel like there's lots of cushion. The foam feels good. Whatever they're using, it's working because there's two different foams in the Escalante and the Superior. But I like both of them, the Ultra Ego and the Quantic. And so I'm not going to say no. It's just a matter of if I have time to get to it this year. But I think that the chances are pretty good. Let's see. Thomas Corson says, my watch does not do a good job detecting my heart rate. The graph is always messed up. I'm paraphrasing. With Thomas, though, what I would say is for if you're doing heart rate training, is get an external heart rate monitor. So I like to use a chest strap. In the wintertime, the chest strap doesn't work so well for me, so I use the armband in the winter. But in the summer, I like having the chest strap. And that was a game changer in terms of trying to actually live with low heart rate training. Low heart rate training is frustrating enough to kind of figure out. For me, I don't know if it's my bone structure or my skin tone or what, but it can do a good job of anything from the wrist can do a good job for like 35 minutes. And then it just goes crazy and it starts picking up. Like, I think it's because I'm getting sweaty and the watch is sliding around and light is getting in here and it's interfering with the optical sensor somehow. And so I have to use an external monitor. Let's see. What else we got? Lewis M says, any good recommendations for jogging light runs? My girlfriend and I are beginners and personally just got the Freedom 3s. She typically works out Nike React 55s, but needs something more suited for running. Okay. I mean, if you like the Freedom 3, I think a lot of women like that one too. So that's one of those shoes that's popular between both genders. If she likes the React 55s, or if she has those for working out, I might consider... well, they're not making Epic Reacts anymore, but she might like the Epic React if you can find like version 2s. Or I don't think they're making Epic React anymore. The Pegasus 37 is a shoe made with the same foam, React foam. So that's definitely going to be something that feels very familiar to her. I don't think they're making an Odyssey React anymore, but the Odyssey React 2, I also really enjoyed that shoe. And I got a pair from my mom. My mom really liked them as well. That's how much I liked them. So, and I also did get my mom Pegasus 37. All right. Okay. I think we're back here. Kevin Johnson says, how is running with the Labradoodle going? I don't think there's been many updates since I made the video about it. I did just order a specific dog running harness for her though. And so that should be coming in a couple of days. I bought a used one off of Amazon, and it was only like 25 bucks. So I think that'll work. I'm thinking that I might try to take her next time once we get, because I think the harness she has now is front clip. And from looking at some of the slow motion footage that I'd shot with her, it felt like the reason she might be chewing on the leash is one, because she likes to do that. She thinks it's a game. But also, like, when she wasn't doing that, the leash was getting tangled in her feet. And with the clip being right in front of her, like, unless I had her, like, the leash very taut, it was just getting all wrapped up. And so I'm thinking I got a running harness with the clip in the back. I think that's going to work. So that's when I'll try and go. And I think I'm just going to try to avoid the water situation for a while and just try and go like, maybe a mile, 2 miles, something like that. Just go out a mile and back, and we'll do that. So that's kind of like the next steps. But for now, we'll just go up the hill and back, do our like 3/4 mile. It's not quite 3/4 miles, it's close to that. Just so we could get more used to each other. Yeah. Ye Ward says, yo, what's going on here with that white balance? Yeah, part of it is that I still have sunscreen on. So that's I think the main issue that's happening. And it's zinc based, so it's like cakey and it's still on my face. I just got back inside from mowing the lawn. So that's what's going on. Turtlebite says, are the speeds good for an everyday trainer? I've been getting that question a lot. I think that they are. I think, though, that there's probably better options for everyday trainers. And so what I would recommend for people looking at that is if you're going to have one and only one shoe, I think it could work. I would probably also look at the Boston 9 as a one and only one shoe. The Hyperion Tempo could be also one and only one shoe. But if you're training for a marathon or a half marathon race, you should probably have 2 shoes. And so I would look for a more traditional daily trainer, one to soak up more of those just everyday miles, and then save that endorphin speed for those days where you really want to have a little something extra to go for those faster runs or those longer runs, something like that. Samson Selleck says, any recommendations for leg strength training to improve running speed? I'm a bad person to ask on that. I have a little leg routine that I haven't done in a while lately, because I since the summer I have lots of hills at my disposal, so I've just been running the hills and using that as my leg strength workout. But I probably should get back to it because my little leg I call it my little leg routine. But my leg routine that I like, it's no weights, but it's more of like a circuit, and it was more designed for like not lateral, but secondary stability and just overall stability, and helping recruit some of those other muscles that aren't like the main ones. So that's one of the things that I've done. But I would say to improve running speed and you want to work on strength, I would say run hills. David Patterson says, do you run any other marathons other than Chicago? If so, what are some fun ones to run? What would be a good first marathon? I think a good first marathon is whatever marathon is close to you. So do the local one if there is a local one. I think that's like a great way to do it, to kind of dip your toes into that water. Run a couple of half marathons as well. It'll be good training for you as you're getting ready for the first marathon. Other than that, probably my favorite fun marathon to run is a tunnel marathon. It's outside of Seattle, and it's 2,000 feet of running downhill on like a crushed gravel, dirt road type of surface for the most part. There's a couple of miles here and there that are on concrete. But for the most part, it's a trail race, and it's kind of set up like a trail race too, because it's a point to point. You're running downhill, and there aren't that many aid stations. I think one every like 3 miles or so, and they're pretty sparsely like situated, but it's enough, just the right amount, and the energy is pretty good, and the views are spectacular. So that's probably my favorite marathon to run. Jackie Mai says, hey Kofuzi, have you weighed yourself lately? I have, but not like, I think I just like, I still had like clothes and my phone in my pocket, and so like it wasn't like a real weigh-in. At home, there's a scale in the bathroom that I would step on every once in a while before I hop in the shower, there is a scale here, and the reason why I stepped on it is because the baby is like, every time she washes her hand in the bathroom, or she goes to the bathroom, I got some company here. The baby, every time she goes to the bathroom, help her wash her hands. And as she leaves, she likes to step on the electronic scale that my mother-in-law has. She doesn't weigh herself. She just likes to step on it to wake it up. And so I was like, oh, she stepped on the scale. I might as well step on it. And so that's what I did. I was like at 145 when I got weighed, but I was still fully dressed and phone. Not that the phone's that heavy. But I don't think I was holding anything else in my hand. But yeah, so probably a little heavier than normal. But I'm not like in like marathon training kind of shape. So that's okay. David Patterson says, I'm in Seattle. So that would be a great first marathon to run. Because all the other races in Seattle are so hilly. Jackie Mai says, Asian moms are going to tell us runners we were too skinny. That's right. My mom's here. My mom does tell me I'm too skinny, which is funny. Yes. Martha says, Jack and Jill use the same course as tunnel marathons, different organizers. FYI, if the dates are better for anyone. Yeah, someone actually just messaged me about that on Instagram today or yesterday, about the Jack and Jill. And I also remember, I think there's a little bit of rivalry between the two race organizers. I would also check, because I think the Jack and Jill marathon is still going, even though Tunnel Marathons has canceled. That's my understanding. But I remember when I ran the Tunnel Marathon, they were like, hey, when you sign up for a marathon on whatever mountain it is, like Snoqualmie, I can't pronounce it. However you pronounce the mountain that it's on, make sure it's the one that is eligible for BQ and not the other one, which isn't. I don't know if that's still the case for both of those marathons, but I feel like they were throwing shade at each other a little bit. So I don't know. But yeah, so I'm loyal to tunnel marathons. It's been great to me. I really enjoyed it. And I don't know about this Jack and Jill. I'm not saying anything bad about them. I don't have experience with them. PG1980 says, how many times a week do you run? 7 if I'm lucky. That's what I shoot for. Forward Looking says, yeah, I'm a heavier runner too, and don't hear much about how to make things comfortable in general. Being a woman, we also have the issue of stopping bounce. Any woman here now with tips to help? I will defer to the wisdom of the audience on that one. Inazumbar saying hi to little Kofuzi. She's already gone, but she's been very curious. The reason why she's so curious is, remember back at the house in Chicago, they would always kind of like wander in. I don't know if you guys remember that. They would always wander in at about like the 35 or 40 minute mark because they were just bored or they wanted to go outside. Usually that's when, after the live stream is when I would take them to go for like a daily, basically their daily constitutional, like their daily bike ride or their riding scooters or just walking around the neighborhood. We have the similar situation today. My wife she's been buying all these like lawn toys and like backyard stuff because we don't have a backyard. We've never had a backyard. So she's like, has this like pent up spending energy where she just wants to buy this stuff. And so she bought a new kiddie pool. And the girls are like, when can we use it, Dad? When can we use it, Dad? When can we use it, Dad? And I was like, let's do it after the live stream. And so like, okay. They've had their bathing suits on for the last 4 hours. So they're ready to go. So I think I have to get going soon. And I think that's what that little visit was about. Sean Marshall says, Kofuzi, do you coffee before or after morning runs? Both. I just love coffee. And so I usually have coffee and I try to have some sort of food in the morning before I go for a run. I probably should also have water. Who was it? I think it was Jonathan Morrison, who's not I don't know if he is a runner or not, but the famous tech YouTuber. He says that one of his bigger life hacks, which I generally am about to discount the second half of any sentence that starts off with one of my favorite life hacks. But one of his favorite life hacks is to drink a large water bottle full of water before he does anything else during the day. And I feel like that's kind of pretty good advice, but I don't follow that. Jackie Mai says, 145 for your height is a little low in my opinion. Don't be losing muscle now. you doing your push-ups? I'm not doing push-ups. And the other thing is, normally my strength training regimen is that I commute with the kids to work, and the baby, who's not a baby, she's 3, pretty much almost 4 now, has the attention span of a 3-year-old. And so when we're walking to school and like we're in a rush after we got off the bus, you know, she like gets distracted or pretends she's tired, quote unquote, so that way she'll have to get picked up. So I spend a lot of time carrying her and walking around, and also going to the grocery store. We pick up groceries, and we have to walk them home. And so like that's usually like my strength training. That's about it. And I don't have any of that now. So I probably should figure something out to do on the upper body. I feel like I've been working the legs really well, but like I was saying, I think I probably need to do some of that mobility and that other strength stuff too. Martha says she's loyal to Tunnel too because she also got her BQ on her first marathon there. Yeah, I got my BQ there as well. One of the things I would like to, someone asked me what my running goals were for the rest of the year. One of the things I would like to do is to just hit that BQ again, even if it's, you know, a time trial, but to actually hit that 3:10 again this year, because I did run a marathon this year and I did not come close to it. So blew up on that race. So I would like to kind of redeem myself for that, and so that I don't feel like 2020 was a loss. Not that it would be a loss if I didn't go after that again, but it'd be a nice, like, you know, line item to cross off for the year, I think. Let's do one more. It says Luis Del Pozo says, what are your thoughts on the Hoka Rincon and the Bondi 6? I think they're both great shoes. I think the Bondi is not necessarily for me. It's super cushioned. There's a lot of stack height. It takes a little bit for it to really like mellow out. It took me about 15-20 miles, and then it got super cushioned, and I was like, ooh, now I see what people are talking about. But it's just a lot of stack height, and it felt a little bit clunky for me. So like not my favorite shoe, but if you're looking for max cushion, I feel like the Bondi is the paradigmatic example. That is, when I think max cushion, I compare it against that. The Rincon, I really like that shoe. It's fast, it's snug, it's great for running long runs that have a lot of speed in them. So I really enjoyed that shoe. It's probably my favorite Hoka. I do like the Carbon Rocket as well, but that's just it's not really a marathon shoe in my opinion. So it's a little bit different, but yeah. So, all right, I've got a kiddie pool to go fill up and get the girls ready for. So I'm going to leave it here for today. Thanks everyone for tuning in and spending part of your afternoon with me. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.